Let's now look at complements. Complements are products or services that are consumed together. Examples of these are hardware and software in the personal computing industry, automobiles, auto financing and insurance in the automotive industry, or phones, applications and data and voice services in the telecom industry, and so on. In this case, your buyers or suppliers, and sometimes both of them, prefer to deal with you when complements exist in your industry. Producers of complements are a potential force that can extract away profits from your industry. How does this happen? At the first level, complements help enlarge the pie. For example, consider the personal computing industry. Faster processors and sophisticated software drive up the demand for computers. However, what follows is a battle where market players compete to divide up and capture more of the value created for themselves. The idea of complements was developed by Bradenberger and Nalebuff, who noted that firms cooperate to create value and then compete to capture it, a process they aptly call co-opetition. Incidentally, the name of their book, which I strongly recommend you read. What factors influence complementer power? Pankaj Gamawat of the Harvard Business School lists the following as influencing complementer power. Relative buyer power or switching costs determine complementer power. For instance, what is easier to switch? Your application software or the internet service provider? When it's easier to switch across competitors rather than across complements, complementers have greater power. The second factor that influences complementer power is the relative concentration between the industry and its complements. If there are few complements, while the industry is fragmented, complements become very powerful. When threat of forward integration are asymmetric, that is, when the complementer can enter the industry easily, the reverse is more difficult, complementers tend to have greater power. For instance, oil refineries can diversify more easily into retailing rather than the other way around. So you see Shell retailing fuel, but you do not see retailers entering the oil refining business, or computer manufacturers developing application software and not the other way around. The next factor is the ease of unbundling. If customers can purchase and use the complement independent of the industry's product, complementers become very powerful. Look back at the example of Apple, iTunes and the music industry. It was not easy for the music industry to move away from iTunes given the tight lock-in between iTunes and iPod. The result? Apple had a disproportionately high amount of power in the music industry. In the airline industry too, travel sites such as Make My Trip or Expedia have tremendous power over airlines or other transportation service providers. When the complement drives the customer choice, the complementer becomes very powerful. We can see the reverse of this in the case of Apple. The increased popularity of Apple's products, the iPods, iPhones and the iPads, increased the demand for apps on the Apple App Store. Given that Apple drives this demand, Apple takes a hefty 30% cut on all apps sold through the App Store. So what are the important lessons that complementers offer us? For one, when you lock in the complementer, you lock out the competition. Consider the example of Netscape and Internet Explorer. When Microsoft realized that a browser can be a powerful gateway to the internet and may even facilitate the emergence of competing application products, Microsoft simply bundled the browser with the operating system at no cost. That move saw Netscape losing the browser wars. Apple too engaged in similar tactics when launching the iTunes. In the initial days of the iPod launch, Apple made available copy-protected songs on iTunes, potentially locking out the competition. We see similar complementary plays in many industries. For instance, HP and its competitors selling state-of-the-art printers at a very low cost in anticipation of the sales of cartridges, or Gillette giving the razor away free, knowing fully well that the customer will then be locked into a lifetime of blade purchases. Given that complements are such a large influence on the industry profitability, many consider them a sixth force in addition to Porter's five forces.